Hey guys, welcome back to episode 3 of the Confidently Guessing podcast. I'm your host, James Werby, and today we're going to talk about all the things we don't know with Norbert Torok.
What's up? In the house.
How you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you, man?
Pretty good. Norbert brought us this lovely tea. It looks like coffee.
Yeah.
But there's like what'd you say was in this?
It's a mushroom tea.
It's a mushroom tea. Ooh.
It's lion's mane.
Lion's mane. All right, we're taking a sip.
With a little rose.
Ooh. It smells like roses in here.
It does.
Yeah, no.
That's how it is every time I walk into a room.
I know.
It just smells like roses.
It smells like rose water and love.
Totally.
But yeah, so Norbert, for those of you who don't know, because most of the listeners right now are people who already know Norbert, but for those of you who don't know Norbert, he is a dancer, choreographer, animator, and entrepreneur.
Yeah.
And he's always doing something. I attribute a lot of the reason that I have a successful, well-connected career in film to this guy right here.
Oh, I appreciate that, man.
So yeah, wouldn't be here today without this guy. So without further ado, Norbert Torok. But first, we talked about this slightly before the show. There's a sword in the back for all of our audio-only listeners.
Let's give them a little backstory with this sword.
God.
So I walk into the house, and I've seen the sword before, and it was roughly in the spot that it is in now. But I walk in the house, and James has this thing mounted literally above our heads.
Yeah.
And I just didn't feel too comfortable with that sword.
I didn't do the best job mounting it to this crossbeam.
There's
and it's
two screws underneath it, so if it were to topple over, there's nothing stopping it. But
yeah, but I like to live life a little dangerously. I just constantly a sword that's ready to fall on our heads, and the sword is not light. That sword weighs like 20 pounds.
Yeah, it's solid for sure.
Yeah, but
I feel safer with it back here.
Yeah,
but
okay.
yeah, let's get into it.
Yeah, we have to knight Norbert for the audio only listeners. I'm gonna probably cut this out because there's gonna be nothing. But go watch the YouTube video. All right, here we go.
With your best king's voice.
Ladies and gentlemen, I now present to you, and then one on the head for good luck. Like that. Arise, Sir Norbert, middle name omitted, Torok.
Thank you, sir.
Absolutely.
All right.
Thank you.
Now I feel ready. That was well done.
Yeah, thank you. I practice that in the mirror every night before I go to sleep.
Do you really?
Nope.
I can tell.
All right, cool. So on this podcast, we talk about all the things we don't know.
Yeah.
Because there are too many podcasts with people telling you all the shit they do know. Oh, mind you, PG-13 here.
Gotcha.
No rated R stuff, but
Okay.
you can curse if you're so inclined to. You just...
I gotta say, being a teacher and now a father, the swearing just isn't really in my vocab anymore.
It'll slip out with me.
But when I was your age, I mean, every other word, I swear, like it was this and that. But yeah, no, I calmed it down a little bit.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what have you been up to? What's new in Torok land?
Well, besides raising my daughter, who is now almost 2 years old, I'm a dad.
That's crazy,
isn't it? Yeah. It's the best gig I could ever get. Yeah, honestly, it's the thing that keeps me motivated. Yeah.
Okay.
But I just
So what do you? I mean, parenting, I guess, is a really big one. What are you still figuring out about parenting?
Oh, there's so much.
That's the end goal thing for everyone's still figuring it out.
Well, my wife Kayla and I, so we are out here doing it alone, so we don't have any family to help us out. Mm-hmm. And I think the hardest part about that is just juggling schedules.
Gotcha.
So. My wife is a nurse. She works her long 12-hour shifts, and so I'll watch my daughter, Rhea. Mm-hmm. And then when she's off, then that'll allow me time to work. And then obviously we have our family days and everything like that too.
Right.
But today actually was our first day of daycare.
Daycare?
Yeah.
Did you have to like sign up? Was there an application?
We did.
Did you have to submit test scores?
Yeah, right. Totally. She passed
you ever hear
with
about
flying
that?
colors.
Like there's like kindergarten entrance exams.
Really?
So
No.
I don't know. I mean, that might just be me remembering like an old George Carlin stand-up bit where he's like, "Did you know that?" Like just to be provocative. But no, like you want to get into a good daycare, she better have the really good block abilities or whatever. I don't know.
Oh, she's good.
She's good with blocks.
With her Mega Blocks.
Mega
Yeah.
Blocks?
We actually we upgraded to a game called Tumble. It's kind of like the reverse Jenga. So instead of pulling blocks out and then seeing who falls loses, right? You actually want to build blocks up. And then you have these little
like
these
Tetris.
marbles that you have to put on the blocks, and so you roll a dice, and then you put one of the marbles on one of the blocks, and then that omits that spot, so you can no longer put a block there. So you have to. It's like being a structural engineer. You have to figure out how you're going to put this all together so it doesn't collapse. And so we play that game a lot.
That's awesome.
Tumble, yeah.
Tumble.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
I love how kids' games are always just, we're going to take a word, but we're going to just misspell it purposefully.
Totally.
And then just make parents pronounce
Instead of tumble.
Tumble?
With a P.
Tumble.
Yeah, tumble. So yeah, we do that a lot. So she would definitely pass.
Gotcha.
But no, I mean, that's kind of why I have a headache today, because I was just sobbing today, because this was the first time that she's ever been away from us for like any amount of hours. Yeah, both of us. So that was tough. But we're really excited because this is now going to be such an important and I think just at an advancing stage for her.
Right.
Just to be around other kids.
Because the pandemic has been weird for everyone.
It has, yeah.
As a dad, a parent, a person, like
Right.
what would you have to figure out during the pandemic when you're raising a kid and there's a lot of developmental stuff that has to happen there, and even for you, what was that like?
Well, it was tough.
Yeah.
Thank goodness for obviously our parents and giving us and lots of advice, and then we have siblings that have gone through this as well too. And but let's be real, Google helps. The Oracle, right? So
Google.
You know, if you ever have a question about anything, if you know she's having certain food aversions, or if she's not sleeping, or and this isn't a sponsored thing at all, but if you are a parent, if you are a parent out there who is losing a lot of sleep because your kiddo's not sleeping, there's this lady, and she's been amazing, Taking Cara. Her name is Cara, Taking Cara Babies, and it's been a lifesaver. She's been
This is like a blog, another podcast.
She has like a whole program,
Okay.
And Kayla's sister, actually, she has kids too, and she told us about it. So it essentially helped us figure out different ways and things that we wouldn't have thought of in order to help her get well-rested sleep.
What's the best time you've had with that? Just you were like, I don't know what to do, but then you read this blog, you asked the Oracle, Google.
I think it was just the pop-ins is what they're called. Mm-hmm. So once your baby starts to cry, essentially you're letting them know that you're not neglecting them. So you just kind of pop in. You don't actually go. You could, but I don't go all the way in, and I just kind of go, hey, hey, I'm here. It's all right.
Hey, how's it going?
Yeah. And then if she really can't calm herself down, then I'll go in there and just kind of rub her back and say it's okay and lay her back down. But the pop-ins have definitely been a big help. And you don't want to pick them up, and because that kind of resets them and everything too.
You don't want to reset a baby.
You don't. Yeah.
No.
A factory reset.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm not a dad. I've never. But is there a button on the back that you have to press and hold for 5 seconds?
Yep, for sure. There's actually a voice box too. You can pull the string like Woody. Yep. Huh. That's how she learned her first word. Oh,
no. What was her first word? Really?
No. I don't really know, to be 100% honest.
What's her favorite word?
She likes saying car.
Car?
Yeah. So we were actually, for Halloween, we're like, what do we do for her? Like, what do we dress her up as? Because she likes movies like Moana and anything Disney, obviously being an animator,
Did
makes sense.
she dress up as Lightning McQueen?
No, but she dressed up as a race car driver, and she has this little pink Escalade that we push her in, and so we've got like this racing checkered tape, and we got all these emblems.
Are there
or
pictures
stickers.
of this? How did I miss this?
Oh yeah,
okay,
there's lots
after
of
the
pictures.
podcast.
And then so Kayla and I, we dressed up in jumpsuits, and we were her pit crew. Yeah. So then I got this little speaker, and I put it in her frunk.
Okay.
And I put racing sounds. So like engine sounds as we were going around the neighborhood, and she was loving it.
I do that with my car too.
You do too? A little vroom
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
it's silent, right?
Yeah, no. A lot of friends are like, James, your car's too quiet. I'm like, watch this. And I have this YouTube video bookmarked.
Yeah.
It's just called Car Sounds.
Nice.
And it's just like, like just really obnoxious. And I'm like,
That's
are you
awesome.
happy now?
Yeah.
Just crank the volume all the way up.
That's hilarious.
Drive around.
You know,
like,
that's a thing, Vroombox. So you actually can attach it to your accelerator. So as soon as you accelerate, you have like a subwoofer, and it plays these loud, and it'll actually you'll hear like the RPMs going up.
Really?
Yeah.
Maybe I'll get one of those. That's hilarious.
Yeah, that is kind of cool.
Just for my car friends that are like, it doesn't make noise. It's not a real car. I'm like, you know what? It drives and it's fun.
It's
like,
a real car.
Come on.
If anything, I would love to convert over to electric and get a Tesla. Those things are amazing. And
Elon's a crazy guy, but he makes some good cars.
yeah, absolutely. So what's going on with you? What's new?
Oh gosh.
Yeah, what are you working on?
What am I working on? Well, this podcast first.
Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you. I mean, confidently guessing. The name of the podcast came from the fact that I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm going to do it anyway.
Yeah.
Just being humble about that. But yeah, and I'm also working on a super secret project that I haven't really told anybody about, but
you can tell me after the podcast.
It's going to be an app that's coming out hopefully first 2 months of the year.
Okay.
I'm hopefully going to be testing it here next month.
So it's an app, like
It's
an
an app.
appetizer. So meatballs.
Sushi.
Sushi?
It's
Ooh.
like a meatball sushi.
What? That sounds amazing.
It sounds great. It's like every
I
type of
love
meat,
it.
cooked, uncooked, Italian, Easter, like everything.
Awesome. Sounds good.
It's the culmination of what the melting pot created.
You heard it here first.
You heard it here first, folks.
Boom.
Brad Leone. Shout out to Brad Leone. He's the one that inspired it.
Yes, the book you were just showing me.
Yep.
Yeah.
Great guy.
Yeah.
That's the reason I call people Bud.
Bud. What's up, Bud?
What's up, Bud? Yeah. But yeah, so I'm working on this project, this app that I'm hopefully going to turn into a bigger brand.
Okay.
What I'll say right now is it's about mental health and mental health awareness and being able to understand where your head's at and helping people through that, because I feel like a lot of people need a helping hand right now in terms of mental health, because especially during the pandemic, it was rough for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
And now that we're kind of settling into it, 'cause I feel like if you threw this in right at the beginning, people are like, I don't even know what's going on. But now I feel like we're in this rhythm where things aren't good, but we understand our place in it all.
Mm-hmm.
So now I felt like it was a good opportunity to introduce sort of this brand, this story to people to help them through it all. And I've told it to a handful of people, this story that I'm basing the app on, and it's really helped people. It's really helped me a lot too. So I mean, I've never done anything like this either, so it's all just confidently guessing here and there.
Yep.
But I think it's going to be good. It's gonna help a lot of people.
Well, I'm excited, man.
Yeah.
I think that is going to help a lot of people, and I think there's more and more people who are starting to come out with just admitting and letting people know, like, hey, I've been going through some stuff.
Yeah.
It's not as closeted.
Yeah, that's the other side of it, is everybody's gone through it, so everybody is ready to talk about it more.
Yeah.
And it's been a thing for a while. Like, every time you find out that some celebrity was going through some really hard times and they end up taking their own life, or they come out as, I don't know, they come out, there's a big rush in the media about it, like, oh my gosh. And then it tapers off. But I feel like now it's so universal that everybody's like, damn, the last 18 months has been shit.
Yeah, it's been brutal.
It really has. And it's given me an opportunity to kind of reflect on what I need, what other people need, what should be done about it all. Okay. So that's kind of where I'm coming from. Had a lot of stuff, especially basically a year ago now, like there's this period of time between like October and December that was super transformative for me.
Mm-hmm.
Where I was just a lot of thinking, a lot of time to reflect on what's going on, and kind of recreated what my life philosophy is. And then now I'm here a year later with that sort of fully realized in a way. Like it's never going to be perfect, right?
Right.
No one's ever going to be perfect. No one's idea on what life should be about is ever going to be perfect. But I feel like it's at a point now where it's helped me enough, and it's helped people that I've talked to enough, where I'm like, it's time to do something with this idea.
That's great, man.
Yeah.
I'm glad that you're executing that.
Yes.
You know,
me
because
too.
it's one thing like to have an idea and then to just kind of put it aside because other things happen in life and
Right.
you know, you have to focus more on this thing. But at the end of the day, if it's something you're really passionate about, you can find that time to do it, you know, and you're not going to make excuses to make it happen. You know, you will do it, and you're doing it, man. I'm excited to see more, and I will download the app.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's going to be cool. Yeah, we'll see where it goes, because there's going to be a lot of moving parts with it. And that was part of it, was how am I even going to approach this type of thing?
Right.
Because it's an app, but I also wanted to make a brand around it, and the app is based on this like story. So originally I was like, I should make a movie about this.
Ooh, you should.
And maybe I will one day, but it turned into like, okay, what's the moral of the movie? Like, what's the reason that I would make this for people? And it's really to help people organize their lives in a very specific way that's aligned with the story. So I'm like, let's just make an app. Like, for a while it was like, I know I want to do something in this vein, because my next project is always something that takes me a while to get going on, because it's like, is this the right step? Because if I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. It's not, I mean, even if I do it, I fully realize the idea, and then I'm like, all right, cool, that's it. I'll move on to something else. Whatever it is at the start of it, it has to be 100%.
Absolutely.
So it was like, I didn't see the path forward. I didn't see where the road's going.
Right.
Until I was like, you know what, this needs to be an app, and it needs to help people in this particular way.
Well, that's good that you were able to find some clear direction with that, because
Yeah.
I think that's the hardest part, is we have ideas, but sometimes they're vague in terms of the direction that we want to go with them. And a lot of times what I always do, and I always tell my dancers this too, is, you know, how do you start anything? Just like I always relate back to grammar and vocab, right? Before you can read a sentence, or before you can read a paragraph, or before you can even put together a word, you have to understand the ABCs, right?
Yeah.
So if you don't understand the ABCs, that's your foundation. That's the fundamental part of a word, right? So once you start to understand those, then you can put together the word, and then the sentence, and then the paragraph, the story, and all that.
Right.
So I think it's always taking it back down to a granular level, and just taking it apart and seeing, okay, where does this go? Yeah.
Yeah. It was a lot of that. It was really just, I know it started from, I like to call it first principles. It's, you break everything down into the parts that build it up.
Yeah.
And you say, all right, what are we trying to do? Okay. There is a huge population of people that are dealing with mental health issues. There is a society that's aware of it now more than ever, and ready to adopt ideas around it more.
Gotcha.
So I'm like, okay, so what do I do about that?
Yeah.
And then I had this story that I would tell people, that I would tell myself, that I'd kind of built up, written entire like journals about and stuff. And I'm like, all right, how do I take this like metaphor that helps me and turn it into something that can help others?
That's awesome.
And so it started with like, oh, maybe it's a short film, but like, I feel like the reach of that is limited. And then at the end of the day, all right, they watch it, they're like, cool. Now I then have to not necessarily do the work, but now I have to somehow find a way to incorporate this metaphor into my life. So it's more like I'll do the work for people. So it's easier, because there's nothing worse than going through a really rough patch and then having someone tell you, well, it's going to cost you, or you now have to just do tons of work, which is always going to be part of it. Like no one can ever help themselves unless they want to. Like no one can help you no one can help you for you.
Yeah.
But it's lowering the barrier to entry, so that once you get over that first lip, you're like, okay, now I want to help myself. It's very easy, instead of having me like, all right, I want to help myself, but now I have to do all this other stuff. And then there's more opportunities to just be unmotivated and just to then fall back.
Yeah.
So
that's great, man.
Yeah, just a way to help people.
Oh, well, good for you, man. I'm excited to.
Thank you.
When are we thinking that we're going to see this come to fruition?
I'm hoping by like the winter break time, I'll have like a small circle of people start beta testing the app, just to see what user feedback is, how people
Yeah.
are using it, whatnot. And then I'm thinking hopefully by the end of February,
Awesome.
it'll be on the App Store and Google Play Store.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Make sure to come back in February.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, that'll be good. And it's been a lot of figuring stuff out on that side, because every project is always something new. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
you can understand this.
Totally.
Every single project, there's always a new challenge you have to solve. There's always something. And that's what makes it exciting, right? Like, I mean, I feel like the first project, big project that we did together was like the Derek Huff project.
Yeah. Yep.
And we did an animation piece with Derek Huff.
Super cool.
Super cool.
Yeah.
But it was a lot of like Derek's demands for it, because I wasn't even in your shoes on the back end doing all the animation, but it was like you had to do everything in a very limited amount of time and had to do a lot of problem solving around it.
Yeah. It was a lot of work
Yeah.
for sure. And like you said, there was a lot of problem solving. There was a lot of stuff. I was going into the unknown.
Well, what were we singing? Oh, it was Moses. So we go, Moses.
Yeah, Moses.
Just us losing our minds.
Yeah.
During production.
Yeah, but a lot of it was, tracking the shot, making sure that, the character really felt like it was in place with Derek. And that was a really tough part, because I didn't really necessarily do a lot of tracking before that. A lot of times I would just lock off the shot, and then I would compose the animation in there, and I would just use After Effects.
Right.
But then I started to look for alternative solutions, and this was totally me confidently guessing after learning a lot about like PF Track, which is a tracking software,
Right.
that allowed me to actually take the shots that you had sent me. I was able to track everything, export a camera from those shots as a 3D camera into Maya, which I'm sure this sounds really foreign to a lot of
everyone's
you.
like,
Yeah.
what's he talking about?
I know. But then it was a lot easier to know exactly where the character was in space with Derek.
Gotcha.
So there wasn't any overlap, and it felt like he was really in the scene with him.
Right. Because
Yeah.
I mean, if there's one thing people know about my camera work in dance, it's erratic. It's everywhere.
No.
Just
Yeah.
for you. So you have to motion track everything to make sure that the character looks like they're actually
No,
in the scene.
honestly, like pairing with you has been so awesome. Anytime I get a chance to do animation and live action, I'm always putting your name out there, because I think we just
Appreciate it.
understand each other at like a ground level of what we want from each
Yeah.
other. And I think we're a really good team, so
oh yeah. Dynamic duo over here.
it is, right?
Anybody need an animation project? Hit us up.
Yeah. I don't know if I have a lot of
production.
time right now,
Yeah,
but
right.
yeah,
Because you're
maybe in the next 5 years.
Yeah, right. I mean, same with me. Now I'm doing a podcast. I'm doing more in-house stuff. I'm working on this app,
Yep.
but
And you're in school.
and I'm in school.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't really have time for anything ever.
Yeah.
And then when I do have time, I'm like, I didn't plan anything because I expected to be working 80 hours this week. That's
No.
it
for sure.
right there.
Yep.
Oh, and yeah, and you have a kid.
I do.
There's everything.
Yeah. I know. It's a lot.
What do you like? How do you make time? Because you're still somewhat sane. Like you're
Thank you. That's one of the best compliments I've ever gotten.
like you're
Wow.
doing great.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm a very busy individual. I have obviously a family, and I'm a choreographer and dancer, as you introduced me earlier.
Yeah.
And I
Still
do
doing it.
animation, and I do client work, and still have time to hang out with friends and family. I just really try to maximize every single hour of my day. I like to time chunk things so that way I don't work longer than I anticipate.
Right.
And then it allows me to kind of check out of those things as well too. So I'll really structure things like down to a T, even sometimes down to like the half an hour, just to really make sure that I'm checking things off my list, and then I can, like I said, check out and then spend time with friends, with family.
Gotcha.
And I think it's really important as an entrepreneur and a business owner is to just have that sort of schedule, like some sort of schedule, whatever works for you set up. That way you're not just, 24/7 thinking about your work. I think a lot of times, like even when you lay down, you're thinking about your work. And trust me, when you have a kid, you are so exhausted at the end of the day. Like it's so easy for me to check out and just sleep. Like I get a good 8-9 hours of sleep every night. So
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, with me, when I try to like hang out with friends or do anything else, I also like find, I forget who I heard this from, but I heard this from somebody where whenever you do something, it should be threefold. You should be doing 3 things at once whenever you're hanging out with people or doing an activity, because then it sort of maximizes the time. It feels like it's a full experience. So like if you're going, like basic example, picnic. All right, you're eating with friends, you're hanging out with friends. You're hanging out with friends, that's 1 thing. You're eating, which is 2. Third thing, you can either bring music. So you're listening to music, you're eating, and you're hanging out with friends.
Gotcha.
At least threefold. There should be at least 3 things going on just to make the experience feel like there's nothing missing.
Gotcha.
Or fourfold. It's on like a beach and you're watching the sunset. So you're watching the sunset, listening to me. Like you can add things and stack them. At a certain point, it gets crazy. But generally 3 layers is the minimum for me.
Yeah.
There's always 3 things that have to be done.
See, I can't go to a restaurant and have there be like background music or something going and trying to have a conversation. That for me is really difficult. I don't know if there's anybody else out there that has this, but I get so like,
if it's loud,
it's hard to like really tune in
terrible.
And you'll notice me doing this a lot. And I'm like, am I just getting old?
I was going to say, you might be getting old. Dude.
Yeah, that's probably it.
That's definitely it.
I am getting old. Yeah.
Aren't we all?
Yeah. Well, what's crazy is I moved to Los Angeles when I was your age, which you are now
21.
Okay. So yeah, I moved out here and it feels like yesterday. Like it was a flash, and 10 years later, here I am.
Yeah. So it's a flash from now on?
Well, I think in retrospect it is, but as I was going through it, you just kind of take it one day at a time, but, enjoy the ride, and I will continue to enjoy the ride.
Enjoy the ride. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, that's, trying every day.
Yeah.
Doing something new, doing something crazy.
Yeah.
Been doing a lot of work with this brand. Seek Discomfort.
Which I love that, by the way, because again, I'm always telling my dancers, I'm like, get comfortable being uncomfortable. I think it's the best thing to do for you to just be in a position where you might not feel like super confident, right? You're confidently guessing. I know I'm keep throwing that out there. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But it's so true. It's so true because a lot of times you walk into a space and you don't necessarily know everything about it, but you can grow and learn with it if you can pass that barrier of being uncomfortable.
Right. Yeah. And it produces a lot of awesome people. Like the past couple projects I've done with Seek Discomfort and this YouTube channel, Yes Theory, every shoot we've been on, something I'm just like, wow, like the people here are crazy. Like this last shoot we did, new friend of mine, and she's one of the models for the shoot. She lives in a school bus that she converted to a house.
One of my daughter's other favorite words, bus.
Bus?
Yeah.
I mean, we'll have to bring her on this bus. It's a cool bus.
Really? So she would love it.
Her and her boyfriend gutted this bus. And they're they do longboard dancing. So you ever seen those people on longboards? And they
of course, yeah. They do it down in Santa Monica. There's like a whole. I think there's an Instagram that they set up. I want to say it's like Santa Monica longboarding, but it's such a cool
like that's
art
their
form.
scene. Is they're in Venice.
Wow.
And they converted this bus. They painted it like it was this most colorful, crazy thing. It was it was called like the Shred Bus or something.
Cool. That's awesome.
And yeah, she's like, I just, I decided to just buy this bus and tour the West Coast doing like skate shows. And I'm like,
wow,
hell yeah,
let's
go.
Dream.
Like,
that's so cool.
And we just like drove around in the bus all day. And I was like, I want to buy a bus.
Was it like a big, long bus?
Oh, it was a school bus.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah. I'll show you pictures after, but it was gnarly. It was super cool. Yeah. And like just people like that you meet when you're around the idea of like seeking discomfort and like doing crazy stuff, because that's where super cool things happen.
I think that's where a lot of growth happens.
Comfort zone, yeah.
And the thing is, then you start to explore these different avenues that become you.
Yeah, like you don't know who you are, and you have to explore that, and you have to find.
Yeah, I think that's really important.
Things and places to explore that.
Yeah, because even for me, like growing up, I tried so many different things. And you might find that one thing that you really just click with and run with. But for me, it was trying so many multitude of things because I came from a family that was all athletes. So they loved basketball, track, not so much football, but just a lot of different sports. And,
Right.
and I love sports too. And I still do. And I consider myself an athlete, but I never like explored it to that level where it went collegiate or semi-pro or anything like that, because I started to find art. You know, I mean, I was always an artist, but then I kind of picked it back up when I was a little bit older.
Gotcha.
And then I started to find choir, and I loved singing, and I can't sing anymore at all.
I was going to say, choir. Have I ever heard this?
Yeah, I don't know.
Choir? You have old choir performances recorded that we can see?
Yeah, let's not dig up those tapes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But guess what? We knew this and we found them. Here it is right now.
Right. But yeah, so choir, and then I got into show choir because naturally I started to find dance, and I started break dancing, and I saw a couple of people doing windmills, which if you don't know what windmills are, it's like where you're just spinning on your back and your legs are up. And I started doing all these different cool tricks and found show choir and started performing as this kind of like glee kid. And, and then I really started to pursue dance, and yeah, I mean, there's just and here I am today. And I just think it's important to try different things to see what you really like and see what you're good at. And even if you're not good at, you know, still give it a chance to see if you can become good at it. But yeah, I mean, just never give up and get comfortable being uncomfortable. I think it's really important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
Crazy stuff, dude.
Yeah. So,
but yeah. All right. Now we're going to stop for our fake sponsors. This episode of the podcast is sponsored by Google. Google, it's the Oracle. It helps you parent. And this episode of the podcast is also sponsored by the word bus and the word car.
And by Ticini.
And by Ticini. Thank
Which
you.
is delicious.
Yeah,
mushroom
this
tea.
is great. All right. Now back to the show.
So I made a smoothie this morning.
You made a smoothie? Okay, yeah. Tell me about the smoothie. All about the smoothie.
Oh, it was great, except it wasn't blending because I didn't put quite enough juice in there. And I have my daughter, so it's like a single blender.
Like a magic bullet?
Kind of, yeah.
Okay.
A cheaper version. So it's just
Well, yeah, we don't do brand allegiance here.
there's no magic in it. It's just
a bullet.
It blends. Yeah.
Yep.
But
Okay.
so you just push it down and it blends. And
Yep.
I have my daughter, she'll push it down. She loves it. It's so fun. So she always helps me, but I didn't put enough juice in it, and the wild berries were
dude,
getting
come on.
solid. So they weren't mixing and blending, so it took me like 10 minutes to get I know. Don't look at me like that. Anyways, it was an amazing smoothie. I had wild blueberries, juice, orange juice,
Okay, are
avocado.
you a mango guy or a peach guy?
Oh, mango for sure.
Okay, because people have strong opinions about this.
Really?
I've almost lost friends over it.
Well, I wouldn't say I'm one or the other.
That's a joke.
Yeah.
But no, like everyone has their preference. But yeah, but you put them together, mango and peach.
Meech.
Don't get me meech.
Mango and peach.
Meech. Oh my god.
But anyways, the reason I brought that up because the straw that I used was a turtle tuck straw.
Oh yeah, one of my other startups.
Yep.
Pandemic projects.
Well, what made me thought about that was.
Oh yeah, these coasters. I got these from from Hawaii.
Are these lava rock?
These are lava rock coasters.
Oh, very
with turtles
cool.
on them from Hawaii.
I like how it's like a
It's like inset.
No, like almost like holographic.
Oh
colors.
yeah, like there's some crazy coloration going on here. Mm-hmm. It's awesome. Yeah, I almost died on this trip.
Oh gosh.
Funny story. This is talk about
live to tell the
guessing.
story.
Yeah, on Kauai, there's this part of the island on the south end called Spouting Horn, where there's like these underwater caves, and as the tide comes in, the water pressure goes up and it shoots water out of this like spouting spigot thing. I don't know.
Sounds dangerous.
In Yellowstone, what's the geyser called?
Old Faithful.
Old Faithful. So it's like a geyser like that just like shoots out water, but it's because of the waves coming in.
Yep.
So I do astrophotography. If you check out my Instagram, half of it is just pictures of the stars because that's what I do with my free time. And I was like, I need to get this one shot next to the Spouting Horn with like all of the tide pools and stuff at 2 a.m. And so I climbed over this fence that kids don't try this at home. That said like, do not cross, or also if the Hawaiian government is listening, please, I did not actually do this. There's a sign that says like, do not cross, fine, blah, 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 blah. They didn't want you to go over this like barbed fence, but there was a hole that I found in the
barbed.
Yeah.
Nice. And you still decided that this was a good idea.
If it's barbed, that means they're hiding something cool.
True.
So I went under this fence and I like climbed onto the rock pools at high tide at like 2-3 in the morning just to get this freaking picture of the Milky Way with the ocean and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's on my Instagram right now.
Really?
I
gotta check this out.
It's one of the coolest pictures I've ever gotten. But I have a lot of weird stories around trying to figure out how the hell I'm going to get a shot.
Yeah.
Or just one time I was so overly caffeinated alone in pitch darkness in the middle of the Mojave Desert that I like almost started like hearing stuff and getting paranoid. Like it was bad.
Yeah.
But I didn't want to like fall asleep.
Yeah.
When I was in the middle of nowhere.
You were by yourself?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think I've ever done like an astrophotography trip with other people. It's always like this very like meditative thing where I just kind of go somewhere super dark. I just stargaze and I take pictures.
Kind of like
stars.
meditation in a way.
Yeah. No. Yeah. And then you just sit there. I think that's one of the places I went when I was really developing this like idea that I had back in like a year ago was Lone Pine. And I like listened to a couple podcasts on the way up. I wrote a lot, and I was such a weird place at the time. So yeah, that was one of the trips that
you almost died.
That one I didn't actually die,
yeah.
But I did drive like 6.5 hours in one day and was exhausted when I got back because I drove up.
Oh, that's a lot.
At like 3 p.m.
Okay.
Stayed there and then left at like midnight and got home at 3 in the morning.
Gotcha.
So. Casual day.
Yeah.
But yeah, just those experiences where you're seeking discomfort. You're like, I'm going to do something nuts, but also be safe, everybody.
Yeah,
I do not, this is not advice about what you should be doing with your life because those were definitely stupid things and I could have died or gotten seriously injured.
Yeah.
So be safe, kids.
That's
all I can really say. Yeah, you ever have any crazy experiences where you really like didn't really know what you were doing, and to tie it into seek discomfort because we love them, we're seeking discomfort?
Yeah. I mean, there's a couple things that I can think of, and what makes me think of this is your story about Hawaii, just cliff jumping.
Cliff jumping.
Yeah.
Jeez,
have you ever been cliff jumping?
No.
I mean, like into water.
Yeah, but like listen, I will climb the side of a cliff to get a picture, but I will not jump off of it.
Gotcha.
But if I'm falling off of it, it was an accident.
Yeah.
It was not on purpose.
It was a while ago. I was probably 13 or 14, and I was out with my brother and a couple of his friends, and we were out cliff jumping, and it was probably like a 30-foot cliff.
Okay.
And there wasn't a whole lot of water that we were jumping into, but there was enough, obviously, otherwise we wouldn't be jumping. But you had to clear a set of rocks in order to land in the water. And at this point,
exciting.
You know, we're kind of just waiting for one of our friends to jump in, and he was a little nervous. And at that point, I was like overly confident because I was young, and I was like, oh, it's nothing, you know.
Yep.
And this was right after winter in the Midwest, so it was pretty cold. The water was frigid, and I was like, all right, I'm going to do this. And I got up without even thinking about how I was going to execute my jump. I just got up, and probably to the end of the table here was the cliff. And I take a couple steps out, and I go to push off a rock that wasn't there, and my foot slipped. And again, I had to clear probably 5 or so feet of rocks. And at that point, my life just flashed before my eyes. I was so scared, and I'm just falling, and I'm thinking I'm clearing this. I'm thinking I'm not, and I hit water, but it feels like I hit rocks. And it takes my breath away, and it was cold, and the water was ice cold. And it was just, I don't know, just me overly confident, you know, and was like, oh, I'm going to do this. Didn't think twice of it. And trust me, ever since then, I will not cliff jump because it's just, it just freaks me out to this day.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Do you have any like epiphanies while you were falling? You're like, wait a second. I know the meaning of life now. You ever, some people have this. Some people are like,
those moments.
I had a near-death experience, and now like, this is the meaning of life. This is what we're supposed to be doing.
I don't think I really did in that moment. I think I was just, there was so much fear, and you just.
Was this at night?
No.
Okay.
No,
for some reason, I thought this was at
day.
night for something. Maybe we were talking about astrophotography so much, but yeah, well, I'm glad you got the water
story. Yeah.
and that you're here today.
Yeah. I'm so glad. Obviously, there were a couple times where I have gone, but obviously in like a much more like safe and calculated way. But yeah, I mean, but those are the experiences that, you live to tell about, that, like I did it and it was fun in the moment, with everybody and seeing them and how happy everyone was. But yeah, I mean, just be careful, I guess.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. All right.
But
and I mean, anything else you want to? Because I know you got to get going.
Yeah. How long have we going?
We're almost at 45.
Oh, are we?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean.
Want to close out with anything?
I mean, we were kind of briefly talking about the NFT project that I was working on.
Yeah.
That I am working on.
That you are working on?
Yeah.
You want to plug that? Yeah. Anything you're working on right now?
Yeah.
You want to plug?
It's been really exciting. It's been a lot of work. Some of you guys have been seeing maybe me post some stuff on my stories. It's called 128 Club. And I'm really excited about this because it gives me a chance as an artist to express myself, and also you earn a living through it,
Yeah.
So I'm really excited about that. I'm planning on dropping something early next year. I'll have
Awesome.
a date for you guys soon. But
Exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah, 120. And then what's the Instagram handle for that project?
That's 128 Club, and that's on Instagram, and it's spelt out. And then on Twitter, it's 128C, and then also at Discord.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, super happy to have you on. Thank you for being here. I really appreciate you and your time. And
thank you, man.
And you helping me move this table.
Of course. Congrats again on the podcast.
Thank you.
And I'm really excited to hear and see more about this app.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
All in due time.
All right, man.
All right, cool. Well, thank you all for watching. And if you have any requests for guests, make sure to DM us on Instagram at confidently.guessing. And yeah, we'll see you next time.
All right.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks.
Cool. All right.
Sweet.
Nailed it.